Cowboys, and I want to give a major shout out to Mike Tag. Keep bringing the hype to the Cowboys Nation. We love and appreciate it. Now, can you dig it? Let's get it.
What's up, Cowboys Nation?
What is up? It's your boy Mike Tag. Of course, we got Jimmy D. It's Monday, so it's a Monday show. We are live. I'm in the cave. He's in the dungeon, whatever you want to call it for those Falcons. But we got a good show. It's off season, so it's not all Cowboys. We're going to be mixing it up a little bit. So it's going to be a fun time. A lot of NFL news coming out with franchise tags coming, and obviously the draft. We'll get a little, not much, but we'll get a little bit with the draft. I'll give some thoughts on it. Of course, get Jimmy D's thoughts on it. But we're going to have a fun time. So make sure we get new subscribers all the time. So make sure you guys hit that like, subscribe, share if you're new. If we're missing on anything, you got the comment section. You know, my man, Ultra Cowboy, he's already starting. He's already ready to roll.
And you know what? Ultra Cowboy is reading my mind. They got Dominguez and Volpe have to be starting. I agree. Yeah, he's absolutely right about that.
So we're gonna have a good time. Jimmy, how you been, man? You had a good weekend?
Yeah, it was all right. We had some family stuff going on, a little good, a little bad, but I had some thoughts. I was listening to that imbecile on ESPN, Steven Smith, middle initial A.
Yeah.
The A stands for asshole. The guy's an idiot. He's a fake New York fan. He's always run he's either some days he's a Knicks fan, some days he's hating on him. Then he was all of a sudden a Yankees fan last year. He's ripping on my New York Rangers the other day. So he's an asshole. But I want to know if that guy can make that kind of money doing that, how is Mike Tag not making more money?
That's what I'm asking. I want to be in the Lear jets and limousines and all that stuff. But, he's got a good shtick. I got to give him credit. Got a good shtick. He knows how to play it. He does the Knicks angle. He does the Cowboys. He's getting all the media markets covered, the big teams. He gets on the Yankees sometimes. So he knows what he's doing. You got to give, I'll give credit where credit's due because, can't hate the player, hate the game, right? Isn't that what they said?
I guess you stir the pot enough, and I guess you're right. You know what? They turn on the program like I did, just because of the story.
That's what they want to do. So, but we're gonna get in. We're gonna have some fun. We're gonna get into some NFL. So, of course, you got to start with your Cowboys. If we're getting the NFL, we got to be start with the Cowboys. And they franchise Pollard. We all kind of knew it was coming. Franchise deadlines tomorrow. They're going to try and get a long-term deal. And what I mean long-term is probably going to be like a 3-year deal. If they do it, they could kind of make it a little more cap-friendly if they wanted to. But I think this is kind of, you knew it was going to happen, and it's probably going to be the beginning of the end of Zeke in Dallas unless there's some major restructuring of his contract. But I wanted to give some props to your boy. He's finally been free. Unfortunately, not a Falcon anymore. But Calvin Ridley's been officially reinstated. They must have watched our show last Monday because we were bitching about it. So he's officially been reinstated back in the NFL. So that's good for him, man. I think he got kind of a raw deal. So I'm happy to see him back in.
No, he did. And like we said, he got screwed on the deal. But at the end of the day, I hope he plays great because we get a higher draft pick. We get more out of it if he plays well. So I'm cool with it. So let Horseface throw some passes to him. I'll be a happy camper.
And then a couple quarterbacks, Derek Carr, who got kind of, he got thrown to the side in Vegas. I almost wanted to say Oakland. He signed with the Saints. I think it hadn't been disclosed the numbers, but they think it's like a 4-year, 150 deal with I think 60 fully guaranteed. He can get up to 100 guaranteed with some incentives. So that's going to be very interesting to see how that works. And then the one that dropped later that I just kind of caught a little bit before we came on, Geno Smith, the comeback player of the year in Seattle, who bounced around a little bit, thought he was going to be out of the league. He puts together some good numbers, and he gets a 3-year, 105 contract. So that's got to make you wonder what the hell you got Daniel Jones. If they don't get something going with him, they're going to franchise him. But he's asked for a lot of money, and it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out.
He's asking for an outrageous amount of money, and with the Giants, it's a gamble. I talk about Geno Smith. Like I said, I'm happy for him. There's nothing like a good comeback story. Played great. I mean, and again, I'm not a Geno Smith fan, but I just enjoy when you're the underdog, kind of like the
Oh
Rudy
yeah.
situation. But Derek Carr coming down to the NFC South. I wonder. I was more worried about Brady being in the NFC South, to be honest
Yeah.
with you, but. And apparently they're trying to keep with a Taysom Hill also down there.
Well, he's their gimmick guy. So,
Yeah.
but he signed to a weird deal. I mean, that's why
Bizarre.
people clamor for Sean Payton. I mean, you look at that deal they got Taysom Hill for is a robbery. So I don't know how that'll play. I like Derek Carr. I think he got screwed over in Oakland. He had a bad year. But he had a bad year with a new coach. So maybe it was a coach who wasn't a player. Maybe it was a system. We've seen what McDaniel's done when he's been the head coach. All you got to do is go look back at the Denver years. Didn't he take Tim Tebow in the first round because he was destined that he was going to make him a star quarterback. So
Yeah.
I don't know. They and then the Raiders franchised Josh Jacobs, which I think a lot of people knew that was going to happen. And I think you're going to see that trend with some running backs. It's going to be it's tough for a running back to get paid.
Yeah.
And the shelf life is short. You see the draft has just got plethora of running backs coming in. You got Bijan Robinson, you got Gibbs, you got all these guys, and then you saw what happened last year with Walker and the kid from Kansas City and all these late round draft picks. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens at the running back position. Saquon Barkley in particular, who put together a good year but had some injury years before that. It's going to be interesting to see if the Giants pay him or just take a shot at free agency, because it sounds like they want to franchise the quarterback over the running back.
Yeah, they're going to franchise Jones over Barkley, but getting back to what you're saying, this is now a 2 running back league.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is. It isn't like the old days. And I remember all your people, the Cowboys fan were bitching about Zeke and Pollard and all this. It's a two-headed monster league, and that's just the way it is. That's the way it's going to be moving forward. Because, like you said, the shelf life is short. A lot of times you got your power back, and then your guy who's outside cutting. But you have to have two good running backs in this league because of the pounding they take.
And number of games now. You're talking 17 games and this and that. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. And go ahead. What would you say? I saw something come across.
No. To Ultra Cowboys point, I wanted to bring up, unless you want to finish up on the running back things. I heard Jerry Jones saying something. Okay. Jerry Jones was on some radio or TV show the other day saying that Dak's contract is what's prohibiting surrounding him with premier players. Did you hear that?
Yeah. I mean, whenever you sign a quarterback to a big contract, that's going to happen. I mean, you saw it happen in Kansas City, but we don't have Mahomes behind center. I mean, they lost Tyreek Hill. I mean, they brought in, it's to Mahomes' credit. I mean, he's that guy. And I think he is the only guy in the NFL, that quarterback. You've got to have talent to surround him. So what they're going to end up doing is restructuring his deal. They can free up. They can move stuff. The cap, we talk about all that. Cap is nothing. It's all smoke and mirrors. It's,
right.
So Cowboys were like 7 over the cap. They can get 80 million under the cap, just redoing and changing a few things. So I don't really hold a lot to that. I think those are excuses. I think they had the money. They could have, if they wanted to keep Cooper, they had the money to do it. If they got rid of Cooper, they had the money to go get another receiver. They chose not to. They chose not to get him with better, talent around him. I mean, if Noah Brown is your number 2 wide receiver, man, you might have a few problems, and that's just that's the way it is. Joe Burrow's good. Don't get me wrong, man. I love me some Joe Burrow, but I'm not putting him on the level of Patrick Mahomes yet. Let's see what happens. He's got some pretty damn good receivers in Cincinnati. Let's see what happens if Higgins goes. They're not letting Chase go, but if he's got some guys, if he starts losing some talent, see how that goes. Mahomes has proven that you can get those cast-off receivers that no one wanted, and he he's probably going to get a couple of them might get a paycheck out of it. But Burrow, I've loved him since college, and if you follow the show, you know how much I love that dude.
Well, the thing with Mahomes is he needs to put that family drama in check. You've
Yes.
seen what was his old lady. She runs her mouth on
Oh,
social media and just needs to shut up. And now his brother got in a little bit of trouble, and you feel badly. I mean, this guy's on the top of the world. He just won the
yeah.
Super Bowl. Could the best quarterback in the league? Maybe we're in agreement here on that.
Yeah.
And he's got this drama surrounding him right now, which really sucks because it's family. You know, what are you going to do with family? You can't get rid of them.
No, I mean, you think you would. I mean, not get rid of him. You think you could put him in check because he's the breadwinner. I mean, he's bringing home everything. I mean, his brother doesn't do nothing. It looks like all he does is some TikTok videos or something like that. I mean, and his wife, I'm not going to dog anybody's personal
Mm,
family. She's probably a nice person. I mean, I look at it from the sense of outside Kansas City. He probably gets a lot of shit. He probably constantly getting bashed, constantly in social media.
yeah,
So, you know, maybe I'm going to cut her some slack. You hear about that because you see sometimes the wives will come out in
yeah,
defense or they get a little crazy or whatever. But they live a different life than we live. You know what I mean?
yeah, exactly. I mean, but this time with his brother went a little. And again, this
Or
is
his
no
brother, that's
reflection.
a totally different thing. His brother is
Yeah,
an idiot.
his
Yeah.
brother. It's no reflection on Patrick Holmes, but you got to feel badly for the guy, and
Oh, I
hopefully you can
do. It's
put them in
embarrassing.
check. It is.
Yeah.
It's embarrassing.
There
You
was
know.
a story that came out in Kansas City. I can't remember what it was with a brother. Um, wanted a table and it was a wait and the owner's like, hey man, you gotta have to wait in line like everyone else. You're not special. And I guess his brother went out and like bashed the restaurant on social media and this and that, where Patrick Mahomes, I guess he came out, the guy had to apologize, and then I think Patrick Mahomes did something with the restaurant or something like that to
Good.
make good on it. But Patrick Mahomes just seems like a good dude. I mean, he
Yeah.
really does. He just seems like a humble guy, works hard. I mean, he does everything the right way in the NFL. Is one of those guys that you want your kids to look up to if they love the NFL. So nothing
Yes.
nothing bad to say about
No.
him.
He's an
But
upstanding citizen of the community.
he is.
Exactly.
So
So
the other thing is, you're getting some receivers out there. So I know the Falcons, they may, huh? You might think
maybe.
about one of these guys. Allen Robinson is now,
Yeah.
the Rams are saying, hey, go seek a trade. I liked him, before the signing. I thought he would be more impactful. He wasn't, but the Rams just kind of, they went to crap in a hurry with all their injuries and all this other stuff that just kind of went south for them. But I think he's a baller. I think he's a guy that could be a really good number two. The Rams are talking about they'd pay. I think he's got 15 million guaranteed. They'd pay some of that
Yeah.
contract if he found a trading partner. So it'll be interesting to see where he lands, because I think Dallas is gonna. I mean, I hope Jerry Jones. They haven't done nothing in free agency, but I just got a feeling Dallas is going to have to do something. Whether it's Allen Robinson, OBJ, D Hop. I mean, there's going to be. I think they're going to be making something. I know Jerry loves him some OBJ. He talks about him all the time, but I think they're going to have to do something at that other wide receiver spot. They're going to have to get someone in there.
Well, and you know what? You're talking about the Falcons. We let go of Mariota, which is not a surprise. So we have Desmond Ritter, who is projected to be the starting quarterback, but a lot of people aren't too high on him. Well, you know what? He played great the final month of the season. What are you going to do? Give the guy a chance. He is perfect for the offense we run. And like I said, I don't want any part of Lamar Jackson. I want no part of that. I'd rather
Yeah.
give Ritter a chance. Have maybe a veteran to spell him as a backup. That's what I'm looking for this season. And obviously, we're going to need some receivers.
It's going to be interesting to see what they do with Lamar Jackson, because you're in a bad spot because you got a quarterback lives with his legs and he's a
Yeah,
threat. But when the legs go, you're going to be in a little bit of trouble. So that's where it's going to be interesting to see how if they hold pat, stand, or if they talked about franchising, but I think they said he's not going nowhere. So we'll
mm,
we'll we'll see what happens with Lamar Jackson and that situation. But I agree. The thing that I talked about on Thursday's show is, and I know it's out there, but do you think the NFL? I'll ask you the same question. Do you think the NFL could get to a point where you're paying these quarterbacks and you're riding them on their rookie deal, and you just keep drafting quarterbacks and build the system and keep dropping in the quarterbacks that fit your system? Because I mean, you look at San
yeah,
Francisco, they went through three quarterbacks and they had the last seventh round pick rookie was really an injury away. Their defense was there. It would have been an interesting game had he stayed healthy, how that would have played out. Didn't put up huge numbers, but managed the offense, it played within the system. and then you surround, to some people's comments of
Yeah.
all that money. What Jerry said, you can surround them with better talent and run the quarterback on a lower deal. I don't think that'll ever happen, but you just wonder what these teams talk about, because I forgot who it was. They had said, man, you should be drafting a quarterback every year and just hope you just strike gold with one of them.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt. I mean, these guys are signing. I mean, well, let's take a look at us. We had Matty Ice, and we talk about the salary cap kept kicking the money down the road until it got to the point where we had to dump them and eat the money, and that's why we were in a cap disaster for 2 seasons, and now we're good. We're back on track, but we hurt for 2 seasons over that. So to your point, I say, in my opinion, as a Falcons fan, take Desmond Ritter. He's got a good arm. He's got legs. Continue to build the system around him. That's what I think. That's what they were doing. That's why they had Mariota last year.
Yeah.
For that reason. Mariota and Ritter are similar in their styles. So if that's the route you're going, why change it now?
Yeah. And that's where you give, we've said a million times, that's where you give the Eagles credit. They did that, and it worked to their advantage. They got Hurts on a rookie deal. Now let's see what happens if Hurts gets $50 million. We'll see what the roster looks like, and that's the problem. And I think that's kind of what Jerry was talking about, and that's why it's so important for them to strike gold in the draft. They can't have misses early on, but I know the Tolbert one, that's going to be one that's looked at as a miss because you let Cooper go. You're trying to draft a receiver. You draft a receiver who had no impact, didn't make got on the field, I think 2 games, no catches, maybe 1. It was a non-factor. That's where it hurts. So it hurt the receiving core because they didn't hit that draft pick that they were hoping. Now they hit other ones. If it wasn't for Bland, I don't know what that secondary would have looked like with some of the injuries they had. Offensive line, Tyler Smith, he took a lot of heat. It was funny. I always like watching the redraft they'll do on ESPN. Or they laughed at that pick. Now they had him going number 15 overall. So if you can hit in the draft and get those complimentary guys that on those rookie deals, that's where you got to find a commonality between the veterans and the rookies, because it's become the have and have nots. You've got 80% of your salary cap with 5 guys.
Yes.
And, that's not that's got to create interesting conversations in the locker room.
You're talking about, and I want to take one step back. You're talking about, quarterbacks looking for money. What about Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah.
We haven't even touched base on him tonight. Now the big thing is he's going to New York. He's going to the Jets. I think Uncle Cheech was right. The landing spot for him is Miami. Why would you stay in the cold weather? You're looking for a change. You want to get out of Green Bay. You don't want to come to New York.
Yeah.
I don't see him reacting well to the media circus here. They don't have that in Green Bay, right? They have obviously, it's a big football town, if you will. It's just not even a city. And the fans are crazy about it, but you don't have that media hype that you do in New York. He's got to go to Miami, but this saga is dragging on forever. I'm scratching my head.
I mean, that's the best spot for him. It's just a matter of making a contract work.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what they got to figure out. But I saw comments, Sam Williams and Clark. I mean, Dallas, the thing I'll say is Dallas has done a great job in the draft. They've been able to get things going in the draft, and that's been very, very, very beneficial for them. They just got to mix in some veteran guys, championship experience through free agency, and that's where a lot of Cowboy fans are just kind of running out of patience because you're just not seeing them, go. I hate to always use that word, go all in, but make those moves to shore up some spots, especially when they knew there was a weakness. And you saw Philly do that. You've seen some other teams do that, and you got to give them credit. As much as I hate Philly, as much as I don't want to do that, it's very, it's very difficult. So
Philadelphia. I see. The rumor about Grandpa Brady heading to Miami, I think, well, first of all, he's got a big money deal with Fox or whatever. But if he was going to go anywhere, I think it would be San Francisco, his hometown. My opinion. But Camel Piper set me straight and said, "How's that happening when he's got a big money deal with the
Fox?"
Fox, yeah. So he's got a point.
No, it'd be hard, but I mean, he's a competitive guy, and he didn't leave. He left with a beating that he took at the hands of the Cowboys. At least we did something right. He got a bad beating. and San Francisco is going to be interesting for whatever reason. They hate Garoppolo. The coach just don't like him.
No.
Trey Lance is kind of like how many more chances can you give him? And then you've got the other kid Purdy is having surgery, so he's not going to be around for a while. They're going to have to figure out something. And Brady's got an ego, and Brady, hey, he loves San Francisco, was a Niner fan as a kid, the whole 9 yards. His best landing spot would be Miami, talent-wise. But I just don't know. I just don't know if he'll come back. I mean, he said it was done. I think he took a lot of media hit coming back and everything that went out. And then obviously the divorce and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's going to go through that again. He might. I mean, what else? I mean, the thing is, everyone wants all these guys to retire, but let them retire when they want. What else are they going to do? He's
Right.
a year. What is he? God, he's a year younger than we are. You got a lot of life left, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you think about it. I mean, what else are you going to do? I personally don't think he'll be good in broadcasting. I don't know. I could be wrong. I just don't think he's going to make it as an analyst.
Well, and I'm just happy with the fact, like you said, his final regular season game of his career, we beat him, and then his final exit out of the NFL was at the hands of the Cowboys. So I'll be happy with that. And to your point, how do you know he's going to be a good broadcaster? I mean,
they gave him a shit ton of money, so I mean they're banking on it. But like I said, I don't see it. But I knew Romo would be good. I didn't Aikman. I wasn't too sure because he didn't talk a lot in the media. He just really didn't have much personality. But the media was never as big then as it is now. I mean, it's totally different where these guys are just constantly on and constantly. And he does a podcast with your boy, the reporter. What's his name? The guy, I can't remember his name. He does a show with him. The guy on NBC. He always starts crap when he was basketball. Not a commentator, but sideline. Jim Gray.
Oh, Jim Gray.
Yeah. He does something with he does something with him. So I mean, maybe he's got a personality on his podcast. I'm not sure. So could be wrong.
Well, I mean, at the beginning of the year when we were looking at Brady being interviewed on TV, he looked like a crackhead. He looked emaciated. He looked awful. And he was obviously going through a lot personally toward the end of the year. Hey, they made the playoffs in a bad division. One more win, we're in the playoffs. Right?
No.
Hosting the Cowboys.
Absolutely. But, and let me give a shameless plug before we're going to bring in Uncle Cheech a little bit, talk to him a little bit, but make sure you guys are being followed. Make sure you subscribe because we got a lot of stuff coming up. We got George Teague live in the cave. Kelly K9 and I are going to be breaking it down, defend the star, but I got some Miami, Alabama stuff we got to work. We got to work out because they did McCain's dirty back in 92. So we're going to talk about that and that signature play he had on Lamar Thomas. And then we've got Dennis Erickson. He said he committed, man, but I always get nervous announcing until they do it. But he said, Mike, we're going to get it done. We're going to get some Canes talk. So we're going to have him coming up soon. And then Barry Switzer, I know, been plugging it, been saving it, been getting things going. Hopefully we'll get that one tied in. And maybe both of them will drop next week. We'll see. But we got a lot of stuff going on. So if you're new to the channel, make sure you guys hit that subscribe so you can catch everything. We got a lot of fun stuff going. Did I miss anything, Jimmy D?
The Cowboys Cave Broadcast Network is the premier venue for sports entertainment.
Sports entertainment. And now we're going to bring in the sports entertainment. We're talking about Uncle Cheech. I don't know where the hell he's at. I don't know what he's doing. Where you at, Uncle Cheech? We'll get you over here. We'll move you guys around a little bit. There we go. Yes. So, Uncle Cheech, let me see. This is what you do, Uncle Cheech. You fix the camera. That way your face is showing. Last time we had to work with you on that. What's happening?
Yeah, I've been out in the pool all day. See, you got the shades on. He came over. I had to tell her, I said, look, I told her, I said, after that beautiful linguine with white clam sauce, I said, look, you're my girl. My girl now. I don't let the 200-pound string bikini bother me. She got to my heart through my stomach. So we're a little bit of an item now.
Very nice. I like to hear that. Now, Uncle Cheech, when you got the polyester thong on, were you out by the pool and that? What's going on here? We got a lot of people asking. A lot of people are asking questions about Uncle Cheech. I gotta ask. I'm gonna bring this up because I know I want you to get a question in. If you got some, the beloved Canes. I know you're a Cane through and through. You were a season ticket holder for many years. I don't know if you were at that championship game with Alabama. Miami, an 8-point favorite, and they took us to the woodshed. And I got George T. He's coming on with Kelly and I Thursday night. You make sure you tune in. But what's your thoughts on that?
He ran down my man Lamar, and I was really disappointed in that game. Broke my heart. Should have won that game easily.
Yeah, and that was 8-point favorites.
He was a good coach. What the hell was his name?
Dennis Erickson.
No, the other Alabama coach.
Oh, Gene Stallings.
Gene Stallings, yeah.
Former Cowboy coach. Yes,
Old
yes.
school. Good coach. And that's what happens. You get into that realm of overconfidence all the time. And when you get into, you get Dennis Erickson on here, I want to hear about the 91 Cotton Bowl game.
91 Cotton Bowl. We'll make sure.
It was probably the greatest game the Hurricanes ever played.
Against Texas. Yes.
I watched that over and over and over, just remembering how things were.
Yeah. Those were the good days. And, it's weird. You had all those great coaches in Miami, Jimmy Johnson, Snellenberger, and obviously Erickson. He's the one with multiple national championships. And, he put together, carried on Jimmy Johnson's legacy, but he built his own because he was there for a while and got those championships.
The two-back set, modified their offense. They kept the defense the way it was, and that was the solution.
I might have to have you on with him.
Exactly.
We talked about that Cotton Bowl game. What they have, 185 yards and penalties?
180. That was 200 yards and penalties in the first half. It was beat them
Still beat them 40-3 or something like that. That was just a beautiful thing.
But
after that game, they ruined college football. That's when they came in with the Miami rule.
Yes.
No more dancing. No more this.
It became boring.
Well, they did. They made it boring.
And the thing is, the coaches had the personalities, and the players were allowed to. I mean, it was a competitive thing. The players were allowed to talk. I played this for on Thursday. I played it for Kelly. I think you might appreciate it. This is one of those interviews, post-game press conference with Barry Switzer when after we beat the Eagles in the playoffs. We had that 4th and 1 earlier in the season, and Barry Switzer took a lot of heat for it. So this is something that he said after we slapped the Eagles around 38-9. Someone asked him about it. Listen up.
We kicked their ass today. We played like that last time. It wouldn't have to even come down to a 4th and foot. So let's bury that son of a okay before I take that mic.
I like that.
I mean, those are the days, man. When coaches, Jimmy Johnson was that way with Buddy Ryan. I mean, those guys just. I love when the coaches had that personality. Now everything's gotten so robotic.
You don't want to hurt anybody's feelings,
Well, remember, was it Buddy Ryan? Buddy Ryan was smacking somebody around on the sideline. Who was that?
Gilbride, Kevin Gilbride.
That's right.
Yeah, I remember that.
Gave a short one.
That was like Sunday night football.
That was Mr. High School. High school play calling. They called him Mr. High School. Mr. Got to slap around a little bit.
Hey, Uncle Cheech, Ultra Cowboy wants to know if when you're poolside, if you're playing Disco Duck over the radio.
Disco Duck? What the hell is that? I don't listen to that crap.
You don't like Rick Dees.
I listen to classic rock.
So what are you playing pools? So okay, what are you playing poolside while you're hanging out and taking the sun in?
Playing with the ladies. What the hell you think I'm playing?
Why? Probably wasn't who was your favorite all-time band? I think it was Jerry something. Didn't you have an all-time favorite band? Who was your all-time favorite band?
Oh, Jimi Hendrix.
Jimi Hendrix, but who was it? Yeah, was it Jerry
Deadwood? Jerry Deadwood.
Yep.
Jerry Deadwood, my favorite country band, local band in South Florida.
Born in
from 100 miles, band in Boston, born in Austin. That was Jerry Deadwood.
They were
Western Swing.
Ultra Cowboys thinking Two Live Crew. Now you remember Two Live Crew because that was back in the day of the '80s, but that was the
Yes.
Great Miami. But
Well, I got one of the Two Live Crew jackets.
yes, he
Miami
does.
Hurricane jackets. The Two Live Crew had on.
Now, who did Uncle Luke give that to you? Was that a personal
Yep,
gift?
personal gift
Made a
from Uncle
season-
Luke.
Wow.
Only he gave me a white one. I think they wore green.
Yeah,
Mine's white. Personal gift from Uncle Luke himself.
very nice.
Was the embroidering
They were
in
like this. Me and Uncle Luke.
the
That's-
red and green embroidering for the Paisan effect?
I think the letters are orange and green. Jacket's white. That's beautiful.
Very good.
Uncle
Well,
Luke, they all wore the green with the orange letters.
Yeah,
If you
no,
look at their
those
album.
those
Me and
are
Uncle
those are
Luke
the
like
those are
this.
great things.
We had a lot of meetings when what's his name took over and they flew the thing.
Oh, Butch?
Butch took over. I kept telling him I'm losing my patience with this man. And he was too. So we went and saw Paul D. Paul D calmed us down. He said, look, just be patient. Just be patient. And sure enough, Paul D was right. Big fat Paul D. And we were wrong. And I'm telling you, if he would have stayed instead of going to Cleveland, I know how many national championships we would have won.
That was the biggest mistake right there with
Mistake.
Butch. And Butch, I mean, Butch was beloved in Dallas. I mean, he was on the staff with Jimmy Johnson, winning Super Bowls, and they obviously won national championships with Jimmy Johnson. And he was a great coach, great recruiter, great motivator. And man, he should have stayed. And then he wanted to come back. We should have let him come back.
That's what I said. I lobbied for him, get him hired. Instead, he went through this coach, that coach, the other coach. Now, finally, they spent some money, but they would have been spending money if he would have stayed. I'll tell you right now.
Oh yeah,
We're feared throughout the land. They gave that cheap call to Ohio State. Should have never been in that game.
No,
So,
Over that 20 years back.
Hey, Mike Tagg,
national championships in a row.
was Butch
Three,
coaching?
really?
Was Butch coaching when we went to see them play?
Oh, yeah.
Same Old Temple.
Same old Temple.
Was that?
Same old Temple.
That was
Same
rough.
old Temple, yeah, I remember that.
Speaking of same old Temple, we're doing another shameless plug. We're trying to get Paul Palmer on the show. He was a Cowboy. He was the one who replaced Herschel Walker, but he had a great career at Temple. But he has some interesting story that we'd love to get into with him. Is him and the coach didn't see eye to eye, and he told the coach, he goes, "How about I just fumble some in this game? We'll get you fired." And it didn't go over well.
That was Shannon was the coach, wasn't it?
I forgot who the coach. No, this was back in like the when Vinny Testaverde won the Heisman.
Yeah.
He actually finished second, and he was a number one running back in the country. That hurt his draft stock, but he was still taken in the first round. But Temple had 0 games on national television, and he still was able to finish second in the Heisman. That shows you how good of a year he had, because he had no coverage at all.
Vinny Testaverde, I had to be like 84, 85,
About 87, I think.
87.
80, something like that.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Uncle Cheech, what else is going on in life? We need to know what Uncle Cheech has going on.
Let me see. I watched some nice fights Saturday
Yes.
on Showtime. And then, know what I'm getting into now? Bare Knuckles. And then I watched, the hell that? Rough and Rowdy. You guys got to watch Rough and Rowdy. You want to see some crazy things going on. Crazy. They got the midget fighters. They got the big ring girls. They got the big fat guys come out there and beat each other. The language is atrocious, but it's entertaining. And then I found another one on there, Redneck Rumble or something like that. They got all these, of course, all of these are in West Virginia.
Yeah. Well, we're not trying to offend any of our West Virginia listeners. They're all sure they're upstanding.
Very entertaining. Redneck Rumble, they come out in overalls, and the chicks come out there. The big fat ones come out there and beat each other up a little bit.
Oh, my God.
Real entertaining.
Wow. They have any mud wrestling going on?
No, It should be mud.
Hey, Uncle Cheech, did you see on Turner on Wednesday nights after professional wrestling, they have this slap boxing competition. It's like legit. Like it's a
Oh,
you
I've
know,
seen that.
Oh, slap fight?
Yeah.
I
slap
watched
fight.
that too, where they stand there and one guy smacks the other one in the head,
Yes.
almost knocks him out half the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I watch all that stuff. I got a very good TV system. I get everything.
Don't miss a show.
Oh.
Everything. I get all the
Oh.
pay-per-view.
He's got the satellite dish.
He's got a
I'm not saying what I got. What I got. I don't miss a show.
He's got all the connections.
Let me change subject. I want to leave Uncle Cheech. You got a few more minutes with us?
Yeah, that's all I got.
I want to change it up just a little bit. So I'm going to get off topic, but I don't know, Jimmy, you're a wrestling fan. Uncle Cheech, I'm sure you watched professional wrestling back in the day. I must have missed it, but they had a Jake the Snake Roberts. They did the biography on A&E or whatever it was. Man, what a story. Now, his father was a wrestler, and Uncle Cheech, that would have been your era. Do you remember his father was like a 7-foot guy? He was, I forgot what his name was. Jimmy, do you remember his name?
Grizzly.
Yeah. Grizzly
Roberts
Roberts
did he wrestle in Florida?
Yeah,
I don't know
wrestled.
where he wrestled, but he was a piece of you know what. I mean, just a bad father, bad man, bad this and that. But Jake the Snake Roberts, it's just one of those wrestling stories where he hated everything his dad was, and his dad did a lot of stuff worse. I'm not even going to get into. But as a father, he did. You know, Jake never wanted to be that father. And then he basically recycled the same bad father with his kids, and then, making up for lost time. But I forgot how big Jake the Snake Roberts was as a wrestler in the 80s around that time. I mean, the gimmick that he had, and then they had Damien when he bit Macho Man Savage and they stuck out of it. It was crazy. It was a crazy. I don't know if you watch any of those biographies, but
I watched last night. I watched China.
See, I missed the China one, so I want to watch that.
Most of these stories I watch on there, they're real sad.
Yes.
At the end.
Yeah.
China was a real sad story.
It's
real sad.
Go ahead, Jimmy. Sorry.
No, I taped the Jake the Snake Roberts one. I haven't seen it yet, but I know he had it raw. As a matter of fact, he actually he's a manager and behind the scenes guy at AEW wrestling right now. But
is
he had it rough. Yeah, he's still in it.
Well, the other thing I was going to say, shameless plug, here you go, part 2 is potentially your boy Mike Tag might be on Pawn Stars. So
really?
I will let you guys know. You guys, keep
that show.
I'll keep you tuned in. There may be something happening with sports stuff and memorabilia and stuff. They reach out to your boy, and there might be some interesting things happening. So I'll let you guys know that as well.
I think Uncle Cheech
I used to watch wrestling. I used to watch The Rock's father.
Oh, Maivia?
Rocky, what was his name? Rocky Johnson.
Johnson,
yeah. He used to be on Championship Wrestling from Florida, which came out of Tampa. I used to watch all the time.
Yeah, I love obviously, if you watch the hype videos, you could see some wrestling influence on it. So, I mean, I love some old wrestling. Those were the days.
We're trying to get some wrestlers on for interviews, so everybody out there knows. So look for that hopefully in the future. But Uncle Cheech, with Mike Tag talking about Pawn Stars, you have all the connections in Vegas. You got clout in Vegas. You should be able to roll on down to the main shop there and make sure that things are taken care of for Mike Tag.
Oh, don't worry.
Yeah. Make a couple phone calls for me. I got stuff to do.
I know him. I know him pretty well. I had to pawn a couple things myself sometimes. You go to Vegas, you end up a little short.
Well, cool, Uncle Cheech. We wanted to check. I'm glad we got to spend some time. This is what we're, guys, it's off season. So we can sit and talk about NFL. We can talk about we can talk about all this stuff. But you get Uncle Cheech in here. We're talking about life. We're talking about history. We're giving you guys, advice, some lessons, all that kind of good stuff.
You
So
want
that's my-
advice on your love life and everything? You ask old Uncle Cheech, will tell you. You want to get married? I'll tell you what kind of girl to marry. Make your life happy. You want to be happy the rest of your life? You
Yeah,
ask
there's-
old Uncle Cheech. Been around the block plenty of times.
they made a song about that. So
That song holds pretty true. I got to tell you.
yeah, so we'll be seeing you. Uncle Cheech is on Twitter. He doesn't know how to use it. I don't even know. And so you could you could follow him on there. Maybe ask some questions. We have to do a virtual Teams meeting or something to show him how to use it.
Watch and see if you can get Butch on this show.
Give you boy. I got an executive producer that is working the phones daily trying to get us
mention that
guests
too.
for all sports. So we're definitely going to work on it.
I don't know. I think if you got Uncle Cheech and Butch might be running for his life by the end of that conversation.
I've met old Butch a couple of times.
Yeah,
Down there. Should have stayed.
I
Biggest
know.
mistake of his life.
I know. I wish he would have stayed.
Went down in history. Great. Lou Saban wouldn't even been mentioned in anybody's name if he would have stayed there. Nobody would have even heard him.
No, he had a dynasty, and being a Cowboys fan and being a Hurricane fan, it's been a very, very tough century in the 2000s because I hadn't seen nothing since 2001, and it's long overdue. It's Craig Morton was on last Thursday's show. Definitely, if you didn't get that, check it out. But even he was he's just amazed. 27 years since the Cowboys have hoisted that Lombardi. How spoiled we were in the 70s. I wasn't around, but how spoiled.
Was he the quarterback for the Broncos for a while? When they played?
He's the one who cost
Dallas in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think you told a story how you bet everything on Denver. He cost you a lot of money.
That's right. He cost me $500. I'm glad I should back then.
Oh.
Some guy kept coming in and saying, "Oh, Dallas," and Craig Morton's gonna get even with it. And then back then, 500 was 500.
Well,
you know how long
I was going to
that
mention
was.
it to him, but I wanted to make sure he came on the show. If he knew I had any ties, Uncle Cheech, he might not have backed out, and I wouldn't have been able to get a quality interview with a former Cowboy and get all the stories. So we had to, I had to keep that on the DL. Now the cat's out of the bag.
This guy, he used to come in. My dad was booking all the time, so we made a little side bet because he kept telling me he was tough on the young kids. Dallas, he said it's going to be Dallas. I said, Craig Morton's going to take him to school.
Oh, God.
Hard to hand him them $500 bills.
You know the funny thing with Craig Morton, he didn't want to say it, but I could understand where he was going. They said, "Where did you want to go?" He had a choice of going. He got drafted by the Oakland Raiders in the AFL, and he got drafted by the Cowboys. And he goes, "Well, I wanted to go." Dallas was the city was new and up and coming. He's beating around the bush, probably saying the ladies there in Dallas is where he wanted to go because it was funny because Larry Cole, who was on, we had him on a guest a long time ago. We talked about Craig Morton just around that time with because it was him and Staubach competing, and I was like, "Well, who are you guys with?" He was at 50 wanted, Staubach, 50% wanted Craig Morton. He said, but the one thing we all agreed on, we wanted to hang out with Craig Morton at the clubs because we can get all his scraps. I asked him about that. He goes, "There's no scraps left over, brother. Let me tell you that."
Oh gosh.
But yeah, I just love when we get some of these guys. I mean, they're so open about their careers and the time, and they don't like you see these guys now when you interview them, they're so
guys today they don't want to talk about nothing. They don't care.
And I don't maybe because social media, I don't blame them. I don't know.
With social media, as we have
everything, they twist their words around and
right, and
you're afraid to say anything anymore.
Right, because
Cheech ain't afraid to say nothing.
No, of course not.
Do to me.
No, but that's the thing, though. These guys say, one thing that somebody's offended by or whatever, then all of a sudden they're crucified. And the social media thing, that doesn't help matters either. So
I offend everybody. I don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Uncle Cheech. Now remember, Uncle Cheech is here every week with us to give you life lessons on anything you want, any topics, questions. He's here for you.
Yeah.
Don't forget that.
No
Make sure you
politics or religion.
That's right.
no, we
Sorry.
stay away from all that stuff.
Yes,
Yeah,
no.
we just talk about life and sports and
Life,
having a good time. So,
women, whiskey. I answer all that questions.
Wine, women, and song.
all right, Uncle Cheech, we'll let you roll.
All
We
right,
appreciate
man.
you coming on. We'll talk to you next week. We'll definitely be talking to you. All right.
Okay.
All right.
Zio Cheech. Il migliore. Grazie mille. A presto. Zio Cheech.
That's funny. Oh,
No, he's the best. Yeah, he's the best.
Now, that is what I tell people is like you get Uncle Cheech on. I mean, I'm gonna have to cut that up and put it so people can understand. You're getting life lessons, you're getting history, you're getting all that stuff rolled into one, and obviously a lot of entertainment with him too. He's a good guy. Big Hurricane fan, so I know he was pumped with Dennis Erickson when he heard that. Didn't want to bring up that Craig Morton because I did hear that story. I didn't want that to affect any interviews we had scheduled with the with the great Craig Morton, and you're thinking that hey, you got Uncle Cheech around, they want to make sure there's no trouble. So no, it was a lot of fun. So we got a lot of NFL. I wanted to turn the floor over to you. I know you got your Knicks a beanie on. You're feeling good. Are they playing well or something? What's going on? What's
playing great?
Give the people the status in the NBA. How's Jimmy D feeling about it?
Playing great. Well, first of all, with a lot of, I'll get to my Knicks in a second, with a lot of Dallas fans out there. I told you guys, and I said it 2 weeks ago, and I said it last week. The Dallas Mavericks are 2-5 with Kyrie Irving playing with Luka. I told you guys that was not going to go that well. They ended up losing to Durant and Devin Booker against the Suns last week. But actually, there's two of the wins that Dallas had with Luka and Kyrie, and they scored 82 total points. If they can do that kind of number on a regular basis, which isn't realistic, but they are two completely opposite, and I don't see it working. And I said Kyrie Irving is a cancer in the locker room. I'm not rooting for that to happen. I hope he turns it around. He's got a new, down in Dallas, he's out of New York. He's, maybe got a new lease on life. So I'm not hoping for it. It's just, I think that to be the case right now. Best team in the NBA far and away, Milwaukee. Yeah. Milwaukee, I think is 16-1 in the last 17 games, but my Knicks 9-1 in the last 10, beat the Celtics in double overtime last night, beat the Heat on a Randall 3-pointer at the buzzer last week, beat the Celtics last week, quickly came out with 38 points last night. RJ Barrett's coming back playing great again. And you know what? I said it 10 other times, and I'll say it 11 times. Brunson, I wasn't a fan of that signing, but he's worth every bit of the $20 million we're paying because he's the catalyst, right? He's the one. Everybody's playing well around him, right? Yeah. So they're just kicking ass, and I'm excited. At first, I thought, we might make some waves, make it into the play-in games, or maybe make it in a lower seed, but I don't know, man. We're playing really well, and besides Milwaukee, I think we can beat anybody in the East right now.
Well, I don't know what the hell you were saying because I don't know none of those guys, but I gotta believe you. I gotta believe it's playing good, and I'll follow basketball when the playoff starts. But Milwaukee's one that you've heard, so they've been good all year. So where's the balance of power now? Is it still the West or is it the East, or do you guys? What are you thinking in the NBA right now?
Well, I think okay. Then let's take a step back because you got Memphis, which I would have said the East anyway, but now with Ja Morant being an idiot, I don't know if you saw what happened with him. I guess his mother was at Foot Locker or one of these stores. The 17-year-old guy clerk disrespected her, so Ja Morant and his crew went down there. He pulled a gun, and now he's in trouble. He's suspended. It stinks because he's got so much talent, but he's like Allen Iverson Jr. This is not the first time he's in trouble. So he's out indefinitely right now. He could get up to a 50-game suspension. If he's gone, Memphis, who's playing really well in the West, you know what? They're going nowhere fast without him. Balance of powers in the East. And again, it sucks. I hope he
do-
gets the help he needs.
But
Huh?
why do those guys? I mean, why do you just? Gosh, man, you got the world at your fingertips, and you worry about what some dude says, or I mean, if I'm making that kind of money, you can call me whatever the hell you want, man. I don't give nothing. So
Well, and to Ultra Cowboys, you know what it is? I mean, I get it. If somebody, talked down to my mother, whatever, you get pissed off, but you don't go down there pulling guns on people. Maybe
no,
call up the guy and tell him off or
if
whatever.
if you're gonna do it, you're gonna have one of your guys do it, and you're not gonna be around, or at least where you can, you
Well,
know, you're not involved. Like you said, like ultra, hire a bodyguard, hire
yes.
security, hire a driver. You got all this money. Hire a driver at night when you're going to the clubs or doing any of that. I just don't understand how you can get yourself in these positions. And I mean, we're all human. We all make mistakes,
Right.
but when you've got so much at risk, it's just like I don't even make a drop of what they do, but I can't imagine putting myself in any kind of position where I'm the provider of my family that gets taken away at just a snap of a finger of doing something that's just idiotic. Just walk away.
Yeah, but to your point, there was an incident last year. You said send one of your crew to go do. There was an incident last year. He did send one of his crew to go do something stupid. It's just he needs to get his head right and get back into the game. But like I said, so getting back to basketball itself,
Yeah.
with him out, Memphis is going nowhere. The balance of powers in the East right now, today, it's going through Milwaukee. However, it's like we always talk about with football. It's who's hot going into the playoffs, right? I mean, we still got, I think, 20 games left roughly. So there's still time left. So let's see how long that Giannis and how long they can play that well. But man, I'm psyched about the Knicks right now.
No,
I'm
hey, you get in the
really happy.
playoffs, man. You don't know. Teams can get hot. Miami got hot that one year and ended up getting,
Yeah.
making it to the final. So you just don't know. So it'll be interesting. March Madness is coming up, so we can leave more basketball. I know you're not a huge college basketball fan.
No.
I'm not a huge one either, but when March Madness starts, you always you you put your brackets together, so that'll be fun. So
Right.
basketball's getting to that point. You got the lull in football. Baseball's kind of, still early with spring training and all that stuff. So this is the time if basketball wants to center stage and get that audience and get things rolling. Now's the opportunity. So you hate to hear news, what you talked about before, players getting in trouble because the spotlight's on them.
I did want to touch base on in a minute on baseball, not specifically the Yankees or anybody. Even though I do agree on the Volpe and Dominguez comments, I want to touch base on the whole pitch clock. But talking about hockey, the Rangers since last week. I said last week. When we come back here this week to the Cowboys cave, Patrick Kane better be a member of the Rangers. But the problem is, we get him. He goes to New York. Flies right to New York to Manhattan.
Yeah.
We play Philadelphia, dispose of them real quick without him. Next night, we're back home, get embarrassed at home to a crummy Ottawa team, right? I said, okay, he's new. I can see they're kind of changing things around a little bit offensively. Go into the next night, the best team in the league, Boston, or the next afternoon on ABC on Saturday. And we had some family stuff going on, so I caught the tail end of that embarrassment. So I'm a little pissed off. I didn't envision we'd be 0-2 with them right out the chute, but I think we'll get things back together. And the NHL, Boston is right now the team to beat, which I hate to say, but I wanted to talk about the Lightning too, because your boy John Cooper was a hell of a coach. I think you guys got two or three cups down in Tampa. He was pissed off last week. The Lightning were playing against Buffalo, and he sat Braden Point, Nikita Kucherov, and Steve Stamkos for the entire third period of the game because he was pissed. That takes, out of all these coaches,
because he was pissed at the players. Like,
he was pissed at their effort for that game. Now think about it. In the sports leagues nowadays, coaches don't have big enough cojones to do that.
Yeah.
Cooper, he must be putting his balls in a wheelbarrow and moving them because Kucherov is the third leading scorer in the league. Braden Point is somewhere, I don't know, 14, 15. And Stamkos is still top 20. The whole point is you tell those guys, I'm benching you for the whole period, and then doesn't back down in the press conference. That takes a big set. And that's something that I don't believe in dictatorial coaches, and but I do believe in the coach. That's the leader of the team. That's the one calling the shot. So I give that man a lot of credit because
Yeah.
they're still well in the playoff hunt, and that sent a message.
That's pretty
You
damn
know,
good. No, I
yeah,
didn't say it. That's what happens when I'm either out of the country, I'm doing this, I'm missing all this news. That's why I need you here to
that's
fill
right.
me in on what the hell's going around the world. So the clock. Now I was at spring training last week, went to a game, and I saw the clock. I was trying to figure out what the hell they were doing because I wasn't paying attention. So they have this clock now that you have to the pitcher and the batter. The batter has to be facing the pitcher, I guess, with 8 seconds left on the clock.
Yeah.
Is that what they said?
Yep.
I thought once you're in the box, hey, the pitcher can throw. So why do you have to? What does it matter what the batter's looking at?
So here's what happened. There was some pitchers who were using that clock to their advantage and then just throwing when basically the guy was in the box. They were just throwing pitches and striking guys out, throwing strikes
Uh,
right by him. So I said, you know what? God bless him. They said, we're going to leverage you. You want to put a pitch clock on me? I'm going to leverage you. So now all of a sudden, they're already altering the rule because a few pitchers, I think Luis Severino from the Yankees might have been one of them. A few pitchers figured it out, so now they're altering it again. They're amending the rules, is what they're doing. So, whatever. I'm sure that they're going to amend it 10 other times
yeah,
over the
I
course of
like
the
the
season.
spirit of it because I think
Yeah,
you want to get the game moving. Sometimes those guys with the rituals and stuff, from the batters to the pitchers, it takes an hour to throw one pitch. You know what I mean? It's like you
yeah,
can't deal with it. So I get it. I just, baseball's the ultimate cheat sport. That's why I laugh at the Astros and I laugh at this and that. Baseball's built on cheating. You're always
sure.
trying to get an edge. You're trying to get the pitch, you're trying to see what the pitcher's throwing. You're trying to get the signs. You're trying to do this. You're always trying to find an edge, and that's what really baseball's built on.
I'm trying to remember. Well, remember it was big back in the day when they, either scuff the ball with,
An emery
the
board
emery
or
board or pine tar or whatever else. So I remember one time, and the name escapes me. One of the Dodger pitchers, and I was down at the Yankees were playing the Dodgers at Yankees, the little Yankee Stadium down in Fort Lauderdale, and I'm getting the autographs, and I can't remember the pitcher's name for the Dodgers, but I'm about to get his autograph, and my old man yells from up there, "Hey, have him put some pine tar under his autograph." I'm like, and everybody starts laughing. And, he kind of smirked, he went with it. But you're right. Starting with Arnold Rothstein in 1919 and gambling on the game and just straight up cheating.
oh,
It's
George
built on
Brett,
it.
one of the greatest, the lose your mind moment with
Yes.
Billy Martin and the Yankees, with the pine tar and the bat
Yep.
like
Yep.
that. So, but that's what the game is. I'm not saying I don't condone cheating, but if you're not cheating, you're not trying, is what they always said. In baseball,
Yeah.
but they're always going to find the edge. I guess you're always going to toe the line. So maybe it's not cheating, but you're always going to toe the line and walk that fine line of cheating or not. You're going to find an edge. The pitchers are always trying to find an edge over the hitters. The hitters are trying to find an edge over the pitchers. So it's just that gamesmanship that is just always there in baseball. And that's one of the intriguing things to me always about the sport.
Well, and not only that, you talk about the juicing, when that
Yeah.
all started. And I know there's a lot of disagreement on that, but these guys went from scrawny little 180-pound guys to 230 and jacked and hitting 600-foot home runs. Hey, do you remember the Naked Gun movie when Leslie Nielsen was out there and he was trying to find who was going to
Yeah.
shoot the queen, and the guy's pulling his hat off. He's got the electric bottle of
grinder,
Vaseline, the
yeah.
grinder. So that's what made me think of that. But
No,
so anyway, so they've
yeah.
already found a way to manipulate the clock, which is fine. Hey, if you're going to make a rule and somebody can find a way to use it to their advantage, but now they're going to amend that. The other thing, too, I don't know if you saw this latest rumor, the Oakland A's at some point relocating to Vegas.
Wow.
Yeah.
So they're going to lose another franchise, huh? Lose it. You got the
Yeah.
Raiders going there, and then you lose the A's. And that's the hypocrisy of sports. Is that the gambling? What we talked about with Ridley and with all these guys, but they continue to put everything in Vegas. These sport teams are in there. These guys live it. And what do you expect? Do you expect them not to
Right.
gamble, not to do this, not to do that? Just end the madness with it and just let it be. you know?
Right, exactly. And my thing is, well, when the Knights, once the Vegas Golden Knights got into there,
Mhm.
into Vegas, which I tell you, I went to one of their games a couple months ago. That's like, it's not old school, which I'm used to, but it was fun. It was a show.
Yeah.
You knew it wasn't far behind before everybody else followed. So you got the Raiders. Next up is the A's. There will be basketball there. They have the infrastructure for it. They got the arena. And so, like you said, the smoke and mirrors with the gambling, they're going to gamble. So it
Yeah.
doesn't matter if it's Vegas or anywhere else.
Yeah. And I mean, and Vegas is a great spot if you're a sports fan because for me, if the Cowboys are playing in Vegas, I'm going. I
Yes.
want to go. I'm going to go see the stadium and make a weekend out of it. You're hanging in Vegas. You do a little bit, whatever you want to
Yeah.
do. It's a great destination spot for sports. So it makes sense that you're bringing it in. I don't know how the home field advantage is. Is there much? Did the hockey, was there a big home field advantage or home ice, I should say, or
There was, yes. I'm not going to say a huge one, but there was definitely a lot of homers. You can see there's a lot of season ticket holders. It's a show.
yeah,
And you get all into it, and then you had a lot of neutral people. I mean, they
yeah,
were playing Boston, so I had my Ranger gear on, but I'm rooting for Vegas because screw Boston, I can't
yeah,
stand them.
yeah.
But football, kind of the same thing. I'm sure any sport's gonna have the same thing because it's a destination place.
Yeah, I just
Yeah,
envision there's that the hotels are grabbing tickets, and that's going to lure the people. You do
yeah,
packages and things like that. So
and it ain't
it
cheap. It ain't cheap to watch a game there.
no,
So, oh no, it's not. Even the nosebleed seats were outrageous. But you know what you
no,
do? You go to Vegas, you see some Wayne Newton. You go
Wayne Newton.
down to you go down to the Raiders. You go down to the Knights, maybe the A's, and yeah.
Yeah, I
So
thought the Rays were going to move to Vegas. I thought Tampa was going to lose them because they're having a whole stadium issue coming up too, and they're not drawing that well. At least Oakland, I guess they don't anymore, but that
no.
used to be a pretty big franchise. Years ago. I guess maybe they're not as big with drawing anymore.
Well, I mean, think about it. Right up the street, you got the Giants and the 49ers. So if the Raiders and the A's are gone, who cares? I mean,
Yeah.
Oakland, they're right. I think they're right across from the bridges from each other.
Well, and the thing
So
is, California's just losing so many people that
yeah,
more people are leaving than
yeah.
going. So you don't know if they can support all these. You just wonder, can they support all these franchises that are in California? So
Well,
it's
and even over the course of time, as far back as 15, 20 years ago, how the recycling with the Raiders going back and forth between
oh
Oakland and
yeah,
LA, the Rams going in and out. I mean, I just with a little exception, California is not a really big
sports town or
yeah, the
sports.
Dodgers. The
Yeah,
Dodgers don't
I-
draw.
yeah,
So, but and I don't even mind the Dodgers, but they don't draw. But
no.
anyway,
Well, good man. Well, shoot, we put an hour of work in. Had a
yeah,
good
it
show.
was
I don't know.
fun.
Did we miss anything?
No, I think we're good. I think he hit everything. No major events in wrestling last
Yeah.
night, which disappointed me. I thought there might be a run in at some point, and that didn't happen. So
No.
no wrestling to really talk about tonight.
All right. Well, we talked a little bit about Jake the Snake. We talked
Old
old school
school.
wrestling, which is
Yeah.
always that's when you can get me going. You can start about
Yeah.
some of that old stuff. So anyway, so we will see you guys again. We appreciate the love. If you enjoy the show, make sure you hit that like, hit the subscribe. You see the Twitter handles. You can follow us on there. We're pretty much anywhere, everywhere. We're live Thursday. Again, another plug. It'll be Kelly K9 and I. And Kelly went into the vault and got a hold of George Teague. So we're going to be bringing him into the cave. So we're looking to have a good time there. So we will see you next week. We'll have more stuff. Hopefully, there'll be some more stories. We're going to get some draft content going. We got our Mel Kiper Jr. expert coming in. He's just getting everything together. So we'll see you too soon. Jimmy, you take care. Everyone else, I appreciate it.